Let me start by saying that I am good at my job. Like, really good. I've planned over 200 weddings. I've wrangled bridezillas, soothed mother-of-the-bride meltdowns, and once convinced a groom that no, his ex-girlfriend should not be invited to the rehearsal dinner. I am calm under pressure. I am creative under constraints. I am, by all accounts, the best wedding planner at Bliss Weddings. I am also, apparently, a complete idiot when it comes to my own love life. My name is Kang Ha-neul. I'm 28 years old. I've been in love with my childhood best friend, Cha Soo-jin, for approximately 15 years. She is beautiful, brilliant, and completely oblivious. She's also a hardcore romantic who has declared loudly and repeatedly that she will only date a man who understands true love. The kind of man who writes poetry, who cries at weddings, who, and I quote, would be willing to kiss another man just to prove he's secure enough in his masculinity to appreciate a beautiful love story regardless of gender. Did I mention she's a fujoshi? She's a fujoshi, a BL enthusiast, the kind who has shelves of manga and a Twitter account dedicated to her favorite couples. And for the past 3 years, I've been pretending to be exactly the kind of man she wants. I've read BL, I've watched BL, I've nodded along while she explained the intricate dynamics of her favorite pairings.
I am, for the record, actually bisexual. That part isn't fake. But the rest, the carefully curated persona, the constant performance, exhausting. And it's about to get a whole lot worse. The disaster began on a Tuesday. Soo-jin had just been hired as our new marketing director at Bliss Weddings. On her first day, she walked into my office, sat on my desk, and announced, "Ha-neul, I figured it out. The reason you're still single is that you're too straight." "I'm not," I started. No, listen. You need to embrace your softer side, your vulnerable side. I've been thinking, you should pretend to date a man. I choked on my coffee. What? Just for a little while. It would be so romantic. Two handsome colleagues forced into close proximity, the tension building, the longing glances. She was practically vibrating. And then, when you inevitably fall in love for real, I'll know you're capable of true love, and then we can date. This was, without question, the most insane plan I had ever heard. It was also, unfortunately, my only shot. "Who," I said carefully, "would I even pretend to date?" She grinned. "Oh, I already picked someone. Shi-woo, the new guy, the hot one." Shi-woo. Let me tell you about Shi-woo. He joined Bliss Weddings 3 months ago as a junior planner. He's 26, 6 feet tall, and has the kind of face that makes brides forget their own names during consultations. He's quiet, almost unnervingly quiet. He doesn't laugh at jokes, he doesn't join the after-work drinks. He just shows up, does his job perfectly, and disappears. I'd spoken to him exactly 4 times before Soo-jin's proposal. 4 times! Each conversation lasted under 30 seconds. "He's never even smiled at me," I said. "Perfect! That's the tsundere arc. You have to work for it." "He's gonna think I'm insane. He's gonna think you're romantic." I looked at her hopeful face, the face I'd been in love with since we were 13, and I made the worst decision of my life. "Fine," I said. "I'll ask him." Shi-woo's office was 2 doors down from mine. I knocked. He looked up from his computer. His expression was exactly the same as always. Blank. "Kang Ha-neul, is there a problem with the park wedding?" No, no problem. I closed the door behind me. This was already humiliating. "I have a very strange favor to ask." He waited. "I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend." He blinked. It was the most emotion I'd ever seen from him. For context, I continued, speaking very fast, my childhood best friend is a BL fanatic. She won't date me unless she sees me in a meaningful same-sex relationship first. I know this is insane. I know I'm insane for asking. I'll pay you. I'll owe you forever. Okay, he said. I stopped. Okay? When do we start? I stared at him. He stared back. His expression hadn't changed. It was like asking a rock to pretend to be in love with you. Now, I guess? I said. She's in my office, waiting. He stood up, walked around his desk, stopped in front of me, close enough that I could smell his cologne. It was nice, woodsy, expensive. We should hold hands, he said, to sell it. Before I could respond, he took my hand. His fingers laced through mine. His palm was warm. My face was on fire. This is fine. Everything is fine. He didn't smile, but I swear, something flickered in his eyes. The first week was a disaster. Shi-woo committed to the role with terrifying intensity. He showed up at my desk every morning with coffee. He started calling me babe in front of Soo-jin, his voice flat and emotionless like a hostage reading a script. He touched me constantly, a hand on my shoulder, a brush against my arm, a casual arm around my waist. And I, Kang Ha-neul, the calm under pressure wedding planner, turned into a stuttering mess every single time. Your face is red, Soo-jin observed on day 3, watching Shi-woo feed me a piece of his sandwich. I'm warm. It's winter. The heating is on. The heating is broken. I wanted to die. Shi-woo, meanwhile, looked completely unbothered. He chewed his sandwich. He stared at me. He said, absolutely deadpan, Ha-neul is beautiful when he blushes. Soo-jin squealed. I choked on my sandwich. That night, after work, I cornered Shi-woo in the parking lot. You have to stop, I said. Stop what? Being so... I gestured vaguely at his entire existence. So convincing. You're supposed to be awkward, reluctant. You're not supposed to just touch me like it's nothing. He tilted his head. Would you prefer I touch you like it's something? My brain short-circuited. I'm just committed to the role. Isn't that what you wanted? Believable?
Yes, but...
And Soo-jin is observant. If we're not convincing, she'll know. He had a point. I hated that he had a point. Fine, I said, but dial it back, way back. Okay. He paused. Ha-neul, what? Your shoelace is untied? I looked down. He knelt. He tied my shoelace. In the parking lot, like it was the most normal thing in the world. My heart did something extremely inconvenient. Here's what I learned about Shi-woo over the next few weeks. He wasn't cold. He was shy. Cripplingly, painfully shy. He'd spent his whole life not knowing how to connect with people, so he'd stopped trying. The blank expression wasn't disinterest. It was armor. The only time I feel comfortable being myself, he told me one night, is when I'm pretending to be someone else. We were sitting on my couch, reviewing Soo-jin's latest test. She'd sent us on a date to a fancy restaurant and was demanding photos. I'd just taken a selfie of us that looked painfully awkward. Shi-woo had looked at it, sighed, and pulled me closer for a retake. Pretending.
I repeated. Acting. Role-playing. Whatever you want to call it. He shrugged. When I'm being fake, I'm not afraid of being rejected, because the person being rejected isn't really me.
I looked at him. Really looked. The sharp jawline, the dark eyes, the wall he'd built between himself and the world. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard, I said.
I meant it to be deep.
It's still sad. He almost smiled. Almost. The corner of his mouth twitched, just barely. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
The first crack in my "this is just pretend" resolve happened on a Thursday. We were at a client meeting, a couple who wanted a winter wonderland theme with actual fake snow. The bride was lovely. The groom was a nightmare. He kept making snide comments about the wedding industry being a scam, about flowers being a waste of money, about his fiancée's dreams being unrealistic. I was handling it professionally, calmly, the way I always did. Then he looked at Shi-woo and said, "You're one of the planners too? You don't look like the type. Too pretty. You sure you're not just here for the free champagne?" Shi-woo's expression didn't change, but I saw his hands clench under the table. "Shi-woo is the best junior planner we have," I said, my voice colder than I intended. "He's planned 17 weddings in 3 months, all of them flawless. His aesthetic sense is extraordinary, and his interpersonal skills, unlike yours, are impeccable." The groom's mouth fell open. The bride looked delighted. Shi-woo stared at me like I'd grown a second head. After the meeting, he followed me to my office. "You didn't have to do that," he said. "Yes, I did." He wasn't wrong. I am too pretty for this job. "That's not—" I stopped. "Did you just make a joke?" "No." "You definitely just made a joke." "Maybe." He was almost smiling again. That corner of the mouth twitch. I wanted to see the full thing. I wanted it so badly it hurt. "Shi-woo," I said. "What?" "Nothing." I turned back to my computer. "Go do your job, pretty boy." He left, and I sat there staring at my screen, realizing that I was in serious, serious trouble. The second crack was bigger. Soojin threw a party at her apartment. Everyone from work was there. She decorated with fairy lights and BL posters and had somehow convinced a bartender to make drinks named after her favorite couples. "Tonight," she announced, "we're testing Ha-neul and Shi-woo's chemistry under pressure." "What kind of pressure?" I asked warily. "The kissing kind." I choked on my drink. "What? There's a game. 7 minutes in heaven. You two are going in the closet." That's not how that game works. You don't just assign people. "Consider it a work exercise." She shoved me toward the hallway closet. Shi-woo was already inside. 7 minutes! Make it count! The door closed. The lights were off. I could hear Shi-woo breathing. "This is insane," I said. "Yes. I'm gonna kill her. You've said that before. I mean it this time." We stood in the dark. The closet smelled like old coats and vanilla air freshener. I could feel the heat radiating off Shi-woo's body. He was close. Too close. "Ha-neul," he said. "What?" "Can I kiss you?" My heart stopped. "What?" "Just for the game. When we come out, they'll expect us to look flustered. It'll be more convincing if we actually—" "You want to kiss me for plausibility?" "Yes. That's the stupidest reason anyone has ever wanted to kiss me." "Is that a no?" I should have said no. I should have said no so many times. But I was in a dark closet with a man who'd been slowly destroying my emotional defenses for weeks, and I was tired of pretending that my racing heart was part of the act. "It's not a no," I said. He kissed me. It was soft, tentative, like he was afraid I'd break. His lips were warm. His hand cupped the back of my neck, gentle but certain. And then it wasn't soft anymore. It was hungry, desperate,
like he'd been waiting for this moment as long as I had. We stumbled against the coats. I made a sound that was embarrassingly loud. He swallowed it with his mouth. 7 minutes wasn't enough. 7 years wouldn't have been enough. When the door opened, my hair was a mess and my lips were swollen, and I was absolutely, incontrovertibly, completely fucked. Because I wasn't pretending anymore. And I didn't think Shi-woo was either.
Here's where everything fell apart. 2 days later, Soojin called me into her office. Her face was serious. Serious Soojin was rare, terrifying. "I know," she said. "Know what?" "That you're not actually dating Shi-woo." I felt the blood drain from my face. "What? How?" "I'm not stupid, Ha-neul. I've been your best friend for 15 years. I know when you're lying." She leaned back in her chair. "The fake dating was my test, to see if you'd actually go through with it. To see if you'd be willing to be vulnerable, to take a risk, to stop hiding behind your perfect planner persona. And you passed." She smiled. "But not with me." "What?" "The way you look at him, the way he looks at you, it's not fake, Ha-neul. It was never fake." She stood up. "I don't want you to date me. I want you to date him. And I want you to stop pretending to be someone you're not." I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You set me up," I said. "I set you up. With a fake dating scheme. That was your idea, actually. I just encouraged it. You're the worst best friend in the entire world." "I know." She hugged me. "Now go find him. He's been moping in the break room for an hour because he thinks you're going to end the arrangement now that I figured it out." Shi-woo was indeed in the break room, staring at a cup of coffee like it had personally wronged him. "Hey," I said. "Hey." "Soojin knows." I heard. "She's not mad. She's actually—" I sat down across from him. "She's actually the one who sent me here." He looked up. His expression was still blank, but I could read him now. The tension in his jaw. The fear in his eyes. "Ha-neul," he said. "The arrangement. The fake dating. I know it was just—" "It wasn't." He stopped. "It wasn't just an arrangement," I said. "Not for me. Not for a while now." "Since when?" "I don't know. Maybe the coffee, maybe the sandwich, maybe the closet." I laughed. It came out shaky. "When did you stop pretending?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I never started." I stared at him. "I never started pretending," he repeated. "The coffee, the handhold, the compliments, his voice cracked. "The kiss, none of it was pretend. I just finally had an excuse to do the things I'd been wanting to do since the first day I saw you. You could have just said something. You were in love with Soojin. I was in love with the idea of Soojin. The idea that if I was just perfect enough, just romantic enough, she'd finally see me." I reached across the table and took his hand. "She sees me now, but not the way I wanted. She sees me with you. And how do you see yourself?" I looked at our intertwined fingers, his hand in mine. Warm, real. "Happy," I said. "I see myself happy." The resolution took time. Shi-woo and I didn't rush. We dated, actually dated, no fake arrangements, no audience, for 6 months before I moved into his apartment. We told Soojin everything. She cried,
She hugged us both. She demanded to be the maid of honor if we ever got married. We didn't get married. Not yet. But Shi-woo started smiling. Real smiles. Small at first, then bigger. He laughed at my terrible jokes. He introduced me to his parents. Scared, trembling, holding my hand so tight I lost circulation. And his mother cried, and his father shook my hand and said, "Welcome to the family." I quit pretending. Not just with Shi-woo, with everyone. I stopped being the perfect planner who had no feelings. I started being Ha-neul. Messy, emotional, occasionally irrational Ha-neul. It was terrifying. It was freeing. And every night, I come home to a man who loved me before I gave him permission to, who kissed me in a dark closet because he couldn't help himself, who taught me that the best relationships aren't the ones you plan, they're the ones that surprise you. My name is Kang Ha-neul. I'm a wedding planner who fell in love with a fake boyfriend. I planned 200 weddings for other people before I figured out my own. And honestly, I wouldn't change a single thing.